Hello, and welcome to a new edition of Need to Know, a series of video interviews with companies who are shaping, creating, and innovating in the games industry today, and whose work will have a huge impact going forward in the future. Today, I'm delighted to be talking to David Higgins and Liam McGowan from Sona Insurance. Hi, David. Hi, Liam. How are you guys doing? You okay?
Good, yeah. Thanks for having us. Good to be a part of the series.
No worries, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining me here today in this conversation. I'll get you to introduce yourselves in a moment, but for our viewers' benefits, we're going to be talking about insurance, covering off some details on IP, intellectual property, and AI as well. So yes, David and Liam, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourselves and who are Sona Insurance?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go first. I jump in. Yeah. So Sona is a business. I guess the standard corporate bit of blurb to say prior to starting is Sona means wisdom in Greek, and so we've been going for since 2019. I think the business has been established. We're based in Colchester, which is the nice part of Essex, or on the Suffolk-Essex border, and we're a team of 12 people at the moment. Our CEO, a guy called Rob Thacker, is a sort of industry veteran. I think he's been in the industry for probably about 40 years now, maybe slightly less. And so obviously he leads us, and myself and Liam, we're sort of tasked with developing Sona's presence in the gaming sector. So we're looking to essentially build relationships with developers and publishers. And I think it's probably a really cool time to be involved, because there are a lot of developing risks that I'm sure the members will know only too well. So that's kind of our mission, is to sort of start to build relationships, meet members, and assist them where required on their insurance programs.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll just introduce myself. I'm the program manager here at Sona. Joined in 2022, and like Dave said, we've tasked, but not only tasked, we're enjoying this new challenge of the gaming sector, and something that we're both very interested in and want to move forward with.
Fantastic. Well, that sounds wonderful. Okay, so I guess the games industry is renowned for being at the forefront of new technologies. I guess it'd be interesting to understand how sort of new developments in the gaming industry is presenting new risks for publishers and developers.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I think it's probably a very interesting time for us, certainly, to be part of the community, because I think there's sort of two or three. We're sort of sitting at the confluence of two or three prevailing trends that are all kind of coming to a head in the industry at the same time at the moment. I mean, as we're filming this, there is a sort of well-known case in the gaming sector at the moment concerning potential IP infringement, and a very popular game that's, I think, doing very well in terms of the sales, that is potentially infringing on another well-known franchise's IP. So I think the insurance market is taking a very close look at how we can assist in terms of safeguarding your own IP, or potentially defending you if you do happen to infringe on someone else's IP. So I think IP is a sort of pretty hot topic in gaming, and the insurance market is reacting accordingly. Similarly, it's certainly not a positive development, but the instances of cyber attacks on publishers and developers in particular. I mean, we're filming this in January 24, and in December just gone, I think, as I'm sure your members will know well, there was a really significant hack on a first party developer, and understandably that caused great distress and interruptions in their business. So I guess sort of IP and cyber are very much at the forefront of the way the insurance market is viewing risks in gaming. And I guess allied to all of that is the advent of, or the increasing use of AI in games. So, you know, we obviously from an outsider's perspective, but speaking to developers and speaking to publishers, the increasing use of generative AI, while it obviously is a fantastic tool and it saves a lot of time and potentially, you know, reduces certain costs, I think we're, you know, it's everyone's saying it's not something new, that it's possible that we don't really fully understand what AI can do. And one of the concerns is that, particularly in games that are using AI to generate, you know, assets or significant amount of in-game content, how do we know that AI won't by accident steal someone else's assets, you know, and then inadvertently infringe on you know, someone else's IP, which is, again, I guess those sort of key points are real sort of buzzwords within insurance, but also, you know, really genuine developing risks. We're sort of at the forefront of it at the moment.
Interesting. Yes. Yeah, I think, yeah, like I said, industry's at the forefront of a lot of these things, and sometimes these things take a little bit of time to sort of level themselves out to some degree, don't they? So I think it'd be interesting to sort of hear your perspective on what are the key insurances that developers and publishers should be thinking about, considering, and weighing up at the moment, given all that you've discussed.
Yeah, I guess what we probably best way of doing this is if we sort of focus on the three key covers. I'll take one. Liam will take one, and then maybe we can do
interject on the third.
So look, I'll kick off. Obviously, I've sort of talked about IP already, and this would probably, when we talk about these three key points, which, you know, IP, cyber, and directors and officers cover, they're not what we would call core insurance covers. So there are some very basic insurance covers that the majority of businesses should have, and that would include developers and publishers. So we won't kind of go over that, because that's sort of the fairly basic covers. But for specifically where we are and the sector that we're dealing with, I'll cover off IP. So I think the most important, or like, if you know, the take home message on IP is that software businesses and, you know, businesses with intangible assets, though, you know, your IP is where your value is. So IP cover has basically been developed. It's sort of got three key points. One of which is, if you infringe on someone else's IP, you know, whether it's accidentally or you know, we would hope accidentally, you know, assuming it is accidental, the business that owns that IP could well take you to court. And that can be extremely expensive, whether they have legitimately taken you to court or not, you know. So IP cover, the sort of, I guess, the first fundamental part of it is designed to defend yourself. You know, if you are taken to court, it will pay your expenses and it will pay for any damages. Second part is almost a mirror image of that situation, where let's say that you found that another business has infringed on your IP, you know, that pays the cost for you to take them through the courts. So we would effectively break it down into infringement liability, where you are infringing, or the ability to pursue others for infringing your IP. And then the third, and I guess particularly relevant point for publishers at the moment, is that it covers your, so if you're a developer, the third, I guess, brick in that IP wall is that it covers your contractual obligations to your publisher. Because let's say you infringe another business's IP and they come after you for doing that, they can also go after your publisher. Now, if you say to your publisher, look, we have IP insurance in place that if the worst comes to pass and, you know, we accidentally infringe on another business's IP, they take us through the courts, they can also come after you. However, with our IP insurance, it covers contractual obligations to you. So this insurance actually covers you as well as our publisher in the event that we do potentially make a mistake and are held liable for it. So I guess that's the kind of the key aspects of IP, without sort of going into too much detail, which obviously if members are interested, we can sort of break it down into more granular level. But that's probably the key take home points: defending yourself if you infringe, going after someone else if they infringe upon your IP, and your contractual obligation to effectively safeguard your publisher if you make a mistake, and the publisher is also held liable. So there's kind of those three key aspects to it. The second I would say cover that's definitely worth considering is cyber. So as I sort of referenced earlier, that it seems that there's an increasing incidence in the industry of effectively ransomware. Someone getting inside, or a group of individuals accessing a company's files, whether that be a developer or publisher, possibly even personal information of employees, which is obviously incredibly distressing. There was an instance in December of sort of passport details being leaked and that sort of thing. But effectively getting inside your, let's say a rogue actor getting inside your systems, maybe you lose access to your files because of this. Even sort of alpha footage of games has been released. So really frustrating ability to curtail your business activities, and over a long period of time. So cyber essentially pays for any financial loss that arises from cyber crime, data breaches, any interruptions to your system, ransomware. There was as I say, quite a lot of examples recently of businesses being held ransom to get their files back and that sort of thing. So yeah, that sort of, I guess, mainly covers off IP and cyber. Do you want to go?
Yeah, definitely. And with the cyber as well, there's an extension on cyber, which is cyber business interruption. So you're going to be affected. Your business is going to be interrupted. It's not necessarily always a quick fix on cyber. So you have your covers for all your recovery and getting everything back to normal. But you also have your cyber business interruption, which is basically to fill any gaps in any income that was missed or couldn't be generated in that time. So it is a nice buffer.
Because I guess to build on that point, once you have a cyber attack, it's not necessarily done and dusted and dealt with within a week. It may have a sort of long tail effect, and that's where that sort of business interruption comes in, because let's say 12 months down the line, you may still be recovering from that initial attack, and you may not be able to generate the income that you were generating prior to the cyber attack. So it is a long tail cover, because the insurance market is very, very aware that it's not a cyber attack identified, deal with it. It is the issues caused by cyber do extend for weeks or months.
Yeah, it's not the nicest. The other main cover that we're looking at is directors and officers. So directors and officers is essentially liability coverage for any director or manager in the business, and it covers any wrongful acts that have come of their own decisions in the business. So that isn't just they could have done something to a member of staff or anything like that. It could be down to breach of trust, breach of duty, any neglect, any error. Directors and officers is there to prevent the individual being personally liable or taken to court. Essentially, if, say, there has been neglect in a contract, the company can sue the business, say I sue David. That can go down a certain path. However, David could be personally sued, even as part of that business. And directors and officers are there to basically ring fence all your own personal belongings, including your house, your car.
It is a scary one, that directors and officers. If you put yourself in the shoes of a director or a senior manager at a company, and maybe another company alleges that that you have personally been negligent and it's caused them a loss, the really scary thing is that your personal assets could be at risk, and obviously that's when things get really dicey. So directors and officers cover effectively, it pays the cost to defend you if you are held personally as a director liable for negligence or doing something wrong. So that's probably one of the real key covers that everyone should be considering. I think because of where we are and because of how quickly things in the industry are developing around AI and IP infringement, I would suggest that those three are all worth considering, but it's particularly worth having a look at directors and officers cover for your own personal protection as a senior manager or a director, or
100%. Yeah. And it's it can come in many forms. You can have your basic directors and officers cover. You can have what we call EPL, employment practice liability, which covers any wrongful acts towards any staff, any wrongful dismissals and anything like that. So it is quite an all-encompassing policy for a business to have, and people just see it there as that ring fence for their own personal use. However, it is very, very helpful for any businesses that are going through any mergers, any layoffs, anything like this. A lot of them come with free helplines. So there's that additional there. So if you're thinking about doing something in the business, you're a bit unsure of, are you going to not potentially break laws, but are you going to upset a lot of people? Could this have some backlash? A lot of these have got free helplines. They'll give you some advice. They'll tell you how to go about it, and a lot of the time they will work with you.
Yeah. So if you look at those sort of covers, IP, cyber, D&O, you've kind of got your core fundamental covers, which are things like employer's liability, protecting your physical assets from damage. All those would be the core. The three that we've sort of delved into there that are specifically relevant for gaming sort of sit above them. So they're not, you don't need them. They're not legally required, but in this day and age,
highly recommended.
Yeah, highly recommended. So, but I guess one of the things that we always, we have to remember is that part of our job is discussing with your members actually what is their risk appetite. If they're just starting off, do they really need the bells and whistles? Probably not, because they just want to start. They want to make sure that they're covered for the basics, and they want to start developing their creative ideas. As you're getting bigger, certainly it is worth having a conversation about, well, what is your risk appetite? Maybe you're happy to acknowledge these risks are there, but actually you're fine with that. But in a lot of cases, insurance is there not because you want to have to ever use it. You don't want to ever have to use it, but as you grow, it's very nice having that safety net there of going, well, look, if the worst happens, and for example, we infringe on someone's IP because some AI we're using has generated some assets, a tree or something, game assets that actually are not ours. That does come with some quite big consequences. But I mean, what we're keen to say is insurance is not all doom and gloom. I think I guess to end on a positive there is, the good thing is that the insurance market does react quickly. So yeah, we've got emerging risks and new risks, and people are, at this point in time, getting their head around them. Actually, the insurance market does react quite quickly to this sort of thing. And we work with specialist insurers that have certainly got their head around these risks. Yeah. And what we want to do is sort of get out, meet the members. Almost more often than not, we'll probably just talk about gaming. It probably won't be insurance related, but there will come a time where they want to talk about insurance, and I guess that's kind of where we can sort of open up a bit more of a detailed conversation.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much for that. It's a very, very insightful and lots to think about, I think. And certainly, having those covers in place and insurance serving as that safety net is ideal, really, in all circumstances. No, definitely. Well, thank you so much, Liam and David, for talking us through all matters insurance and IP and cyber and directors and officers. Very interesting. And thank you today for our audience who have tuned in to catch this video. There's plenty of other need to know videos out there on our Ukie TV channel on YouTube. And thank you for enjoying this one, and more soon. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.